Reds, it's Friday. Fuad Fridays. What more can I ask for to be next to this handsome man? Usually I like to be the most handsome guy in the show, but I've no chance today, mate. Look at you. Look at you. What
we'll
a
let
dream.
the comments decide. No, please don't.
Please vote for me. Okay, so it's not a great day really. I'm seeing a lot of upset Liverpool fans, which we shouldn't be getting at the moment. This fucking ballot, as it says on our agenda here, this fucking ballot has upset many match goers, many Liverpool fans who qualified. I mean, with two Champions League finals in 2 years, Fuad, we've danced this dance before, but it's never nice.
No, it isn't, and you know, in the build-up to such a big game after such a great season, you want it to be full of excitement, positivity, but instead you've seen online, social media, you've seen a lot of negativity about it, and you know, understandably so, because it is tough to take. There's so many people that have been across Europe, have followed the team for however many years, and you know, a lot of younger guys who don't necessarily have the opportunity to get on the ladder and get tickets in their own name in terms of aways and things. So it is tough to take and tough to see, but you know, there needs to be some serious questions asked now. I think that what it is for me as well is I don't want to. I don't think it's a time to bait the club a little bit. No. People are annoyed with the club and maybe the systems we get in terms of choosing who gets tickets and whatnot could be addressed. I mean, there's lads and girls, sorry, who could be who go to all the aways domestically and whatnot. But I mean, the system that the club have been in place has been in place since I've been a kid, and you know, I managed to get myself a European away once, and I've had to use that to keep her up for seasons after season, to ensure that I've managed to have that extra credit which has got me final tickets. That could maybe be looked at or reviewed. I know some clubs do like a point system and stuff like that, but we all know what goes on with tickets. It's not always the name on the ticket that goes to the game. It's just it's not making it easy when you hear a lads who do 95% of Liverpool's fixtures and they're number 16,000 in the waiting list. No, exactly. You expect it to be hard, but not this hard. I think there are steps that clubs can take, and it's probably something that is under review. And a lot of times people do come up with ideas, but it is easier said than done, because there's so many different factors to consider. Because you know, if you can easily make someone unhappy by trying to sort this out for another specific group of people. So there's so many factors that I have to consider. But you know, I think now it's really time for the clubs. What they can do is kind of get together now, the top clubs across Europe, and take this to UEFA and say kind of enough is enough with these allocations, because you know, we talk about club power now being at its peak, and maybe it's time for them to kind of really show and take action, and the only way it can be done is if it's done kind of as a collective force.
Yeah, I mean, the club are not in an enviable position really, but I'm quite happy to bait UEFA on this, because it's a 67,000 seater stadium, 32,000 going to the clubs. I mean, what are we putting the event on for? Where the 32,000 is less than half of what that stadium holds. There's a wider point around the size of the stadiums they're picking and the location, which I know Klopp picked up on Baku recently. Yeah. I mean, he has got a point, but there is only so many grounds for me that can hold this. And if UEFA needs 25,000 tickets, say, to satisfy the football family and their sponsors and those who are paying all the money to sponsor the Champions League, then fine. We'll pick a ground that's big enough. 67,000 is about the limit, the bottom end of what you can do. Kiev was what, 60,000. The clubs that have been in the finals in the last few years, you know, Real Madrid didn't near enough every year for the last 5 years. Liverpool, you know, in the future you're going to see the regular boys. Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain. You get the anomalies, your Portos and whatnot. You know, maybe one year we'll get Manchester City in there, but it's not, the Santiago Bernabeu, Nou Camp, Westfalen Stadium, Wembley, Parc de France, Stade de France, sorry. These grounds are fit to host European finals. You've got to have the biggest possible capacity. You've got to get the most amount of fans in the ground. Yeah. And the ones that I get it's a lovely ground, it's brand new, it's purpose built, and it probably satisfies all UEFA's criteria in terms of the facilities the stadium has to have in terms of where the press can go and the standard of the changing rooms and all that. It's about what goes on the pitch and the amount of fans we can get in. I think for UEFA to have more than half, though, of the tickets for this ground is scandalous.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, you know, the big thing is a lot of it goes to the sponsors and everyone, and you know, you constantly see, I hate to use the word product, but part of the product is the fans, the atmosphere. You see, you know, UEFA, all the different media companies and outlets kind of bigging it up and kind of using that to their advantage, and you know, they're literally not giving the opportunity for that to be at its maximum. And you know what? To a lot of people, you know, the Champions League final is not just an event, it's something that, you know, you kind of dream about reaching. It's something that, you know, if you're a Tottenham fan, if you're a young Tottenham fan, you know, you wouldn't really have ever thought your team would have reached that stage. And for people to miss out, for you know, guys in suits who treat it as a spectacle, as they go into the theatre, going to the cinema, it's just really sad.
Yeah, we had last season for Kiev. We just had our George, my son, and I sold it at home to my wife as this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and obviously, thankfully, it's 2 in 2 years. And that, but you don't expect that. I mean, it was one where we were up against. It was sort of against all odds. Liverpool's first year back in the Champions League. We got to the final, and this is a calling for people. And I think if you remember Athens after Istanbul, people who maybe couldn't have afforded to go to Istanbul or whatnot have gone, I'm not missing that day again. I've got to find a way. And Liverpool fans, as you showed with Kiev, found a way. We're staying in the maddest of accommodations and whatnot. And I don't think it'll deter all the people who intend to travel to Madrid from going and having a great time. It was really sad. I mean, I've walked into the Anfield Wrap office this morning and I think of 12 lads who are going, 3 have got tickets so far, and that's sad really for the guys who go to the game. But hopefully people who try and will get as sorted as possible. So shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, Joe Gomez has been talking in the press about maybe that people don't understand how much football, how much it hurts them, missing out on when they're out injured and whatnot. And I thought, you know, in Josh's agenda here, he was saying, you know, you don't think about how hard it is on footballers mentally. Excuse me. And Joe Gomez was becoming, sorry, I'm properly losing my voice. Joe Gomez was becoming revered as one of Europe's best young defenders, and you know, you never know how could he have affected the title run in, how could he have done that. He's now, would you say he's unlikely to start the Champions League final? He is unlikely to start the Champions League final. You know, you'd imagine that Matip and Van Dijk started, so he would have been a shoo-in. And how much will that be playing on his mind?
I think a lot. I think the fact that he's gone through a few injuries like this at such a young age, you know, you can look at it long term as being something that's beneficial in terms of he's got that mental strength. You hear the coaching staff and people in the club talking about how strong he is and how kind of mature he is for his age. But either way, it doesn't take away from the pain, especially when you're in such good form. He'd have known how well he was playing, and he would have felt really good. You know, he's got the partner Van Dijk alongside of him as well, who equally, you know, has been playing at the top of his game, and to suddenly miss out, and you know, to have such a kind of freak injury in a way, because it was a bit of a freak injury, him breaking his leg, wasn't it, at Burnley, and it's just really hard to take because other players have stepped up and taken that kind of gap, and you feel for him, but you know, I think he's someone that has gone through enough now to be able to kind of not brush it aside, take the pain as it comes now and then move on, because you know it is a Champions League final. As a kid, he'd be looking at that, and again, it's something, you know, you dream of playing, and you know, we talk about as fans something that we dream to see our team play in. But if you're a player, you just want to be there and play at the highest level, because if you're that good, you belong at that level, don't you? And it's, I do think we will see a better Joe Gomez for it now. Yeah,
okay. So coming into the summer, we've obviously seen Joel Matip take up the mantle and do quite well.
How do you feel about that?
Pains me to say. He's probably listened to the Anfield Wrap and heard all the stick I've gave him over the years, and that's been his motivating factor, so you can thank me for it. But no, I think Liverpool come to the summer where Alberto Moreno's going to leave, Nathaniel Klein will almost certainly leave, and the question is whether the likes of Lovren will be happy to stick around as a fourth-choice centre-half. So there's a lot of De Ligt chat.
Yeah, I'm very, very keen on De Ligt, and I was talking to Sean earlier, and it's, you know, he's one of those players where he's 19 years old, and you see how mature he is already, not just on the pitch but off the pitch. He's a proper leader of that Ajax team, and you know, if there's an opportunity to get him, we've seen Liverpool be kind of very willing to grab any opportunity that comes, and they're constantly open for things new situations to kind of arise. If there is some way of kind of getting in there, that's your centre-half position kind of boxed off for the next 10 years.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
After years of
exactly
shite, basically, at centre-half, it would be nice to
never have to talk about it again.
No, not until I'm not worrying about it. Okay, well, lots happening on the Anfield Wrap as per usual. All the builds up to the final in Madrid. A special travelling cop is out today. Yeah, out later today. On our, is that on a subscription service?
Yeah.
On subscription, so download the Anfield Wrap app. Please do subscribe to the Anfield Wrap app. There's no better time in the lead up to a Champions League final to do that. AFQ later, I'm on it, so you'll get lots of jokes, lots of fun. If you've never heard that before, it's just basically any fucking question. It's good. We all have a bevy and have a nice time. Definitely worth subscribing. So yeah, please continue watching these videos so you get more of handsome Fuad and less handsome Paul. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. See you again soon.